Hi everybody, Rachel here from Rachthestamper.wordpress.com, and today I'm going to show you how to make a really cool card. But before we start, I just want to remind you that the bonus days are going on for Stampin' Up! They have never done this before, but for every $50 you spend from July 7th through the 31st, you'll get $5 to use in August between the 2nd and the 31st. So you do have to have a valid email address to participate because that's how they send you the code and then you can use it. But this is something that's going to be coming to an end very soon, about I guess a week and 3 days or so to go. So just wanted to remind you of that in case you didn't see it. So the card we're going to be making today is for the Christmas in July blog hop that Team Stampin is doing. So this is my card, and I decided to do a spinner card. So I know this is a little awkward to see on a video where you can't see it in front of you, but it's really, really cool. So what I did is I used the sliding star framelits, and there's a circle that is out because I'm going to use it. There's a circle for this, and then the shooting star is what I cut out this. And you can either use washers or you can use 2 pennies. So this is the outside of the card, and this is using the new designer series paper, and it is called This Christmas. It's actually the specialty designer series paper. It's a little bit thinner than normal designer series paper. It's kind of more like that, oh goodness, I just lost the words of it. The typeset that would look like the newspaper print. But there's a bunch of different colors. There's another one over here. I'll show you another little piece. This one. So there's some really, really pretty pieces in here. So this is using a different one. It has the little Christmas trees and the stars, which is really pretty. And then the other side of that is actually these stripes. So I decided to use that on the inside just to break up the monotony. And I used a little bit of the copper metallic thread down here at the bottom. And then on the inside, and also this is embossed with the copper embossing powder. And on the inside, I did a different designer series paper just because it's really pretty to be able to show all the different kinds. And then I did this really cute sentiment, and I did that again in the copper embossing. So I hope you like this card. It was so fun. It was so fun to make, but once you actually get to see it, it's super fun to do. So let me show you how we're going to get started. And what we're going to do is we're going to use a little bit different. Here's my other framelit. We're going to use a little bit different of a designer series paper just to give you another feel for it. And I'm going to show you one other tip as well. So I don't think I've made any videos for a little while. My dad was in the hospital, so that was kind of unexpected. So took up a little bit more of my time than I thought, but he's well and home now. I got my new Big Shot, so I'm super duper excited. I love it. It is a lot of fun to use, but I had a different machine, so it does take a teeny bit of getting used to. However, one of the coolest parts about it is this magnetic platform, which is awesome because you can use your framelits, you stick it on your paper and nothing moves. It's super cool. Very easy to use. So to get started, I'm going to show you what we're going to do. So getting ahead of myself. Instead of this one, I made this one on Cherry Cobbler. So we're going to do a base of garden green. So this is 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. And then we're going to use a piece of Cherry Cobbler. This is 4 by 5 1/4. And then I have a different designer series paper that we're going to layer on top. So instead, this one I did just with the designer series paper, but I thought another thing just to make it a little more sturdy would be to put 2 layers together and then we'll put it on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape this together first and then we're going to cut through it. And then we have this other side that we'll be able to use as well. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to tape it because I'm going to need this cut piece. So I'm just going to lay both of these together and then I'll cut it out. I'll explain it in a minute. So what we're going to do, let me get this out of the way, and maybe I should turn this so I can reach the crank. As you can tell, it's going to take a little bit of getting used to. Please bear with me. All right, and the paper here, I just cut this 1/8 of an inch smaller. So this is 4 by 5 1/4. So this is like 3 7/8 by, what would that be, 5 1/4, 5 3/8. I think that's right. I hope that's right. I usually look at the tick marks. All right, so you're going to put this on here. You're just going to decide where you want it. Just make sure you feel like you have it centered. Okay, and then you just put your top piece on, so it's stuck there now by magnet, and just crank it through. pull this up and out of the way. Let me move this over. Okay, so sometimes they stick to the top. No big deal. Okay, so here you have now your 3 pieces. So this is going to be the base. Okay, this is going to be your center right here. And then this is like another layer. So what you can do is you can flip this over and lay it. It also makes it very easy to line things up. You could do that if you want a little contrast, or you can just leave it so the green shows through, or you could put it so the red shows through if you want to use this layer. But anyway is easy. It's totally up to whichever way you want to do it. So what we're going to do really quickly before we continue is I'm also going to do my sentiment. So I kind of was trying to do one that fit into this little shooting star because I thought it was just really fun. So I did Merry Wishes on my first one. You could use a different Christmas stamp set. This is also in the new catalog. Oh, what fun. Let's see if we can get Ho 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 to fit, because that might fit. That might be really, really fun. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just get a little scrap piece of, let's see if that looks like it'll fit on there. A little too precarious. Little scrap piece here of very vanilla. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we'll do our Ho Ho Ho. And again, I am going to go with the copper embossing powder just because it was really fun and it gave a lot of impact. So let me get this out of the way. I'm going to use your Versamark, okay, and you're going to ink up your stamp, okay, and you're going to stamp. Move this out of the way. Pour your copper embossing powder on here. Probably should have turned the ceiling fan off, but live and learn. Okay. All right, let me just clean this up, because one time I did learn the hard way that if you heat your embossing powder, even if it's remotely close, it does get a little melty and kind of goopy, so don't do that. Okay, and that'll be all for right now. And I'm going to heat this up. Okay. All right, and then just one more quick thing so I don't get too ahead of myself. I'm going to just go ahead and run this through the Big Shot. Okay, and if you haven't already, make sure you go to my blog, and there is a blog hop going on. All you have to do is leave your comment and hashtag, and I cannot remember what it is off the top of my head, I'm sorry, but I will make a note of it on the blog post. Leave the hashtag, and that will enter you in the contest to win a really, really cool prize. And then what I'm going to do also on this one, you know what, I think I'm going to go with the red again, because I think there's a lot of green on that card. I'm also going to cut out just a little red, or Cherry Cobbler, because it just looked kind of pretty with the two of them together backed on there. Okay, so we have our two stars. All right. Okay, so now all we have left to do is assemble. So what we're going to do first is we're going to snail these together. Where's my snail? Okay, so these are going to just line up directly on top. Doesn't have to be in any specific direction, because we can do that more so once we lay this other piece down. And same thing again, we're just going to put some snail on this. Okay, and then this is going to, again, please excuse my head. So make sure I line this up perfectly. You just have just the tiniest border around there. Okay. That looks good. Okay. Now the other thing we're going to be using, and you can completely do this with dimensionals, so if you don't have these, no worries. I did my first one with dimensionals, is we're going to put these little strips on here that are going to help us make the spinner part of the card. The only thing you do have to remember is you want to be very careful not to put these too close to the circle, or else you will impede the spinning. So we're going to pull one off. We're going to put one kind of down here at the bottom. And what I found is if you put them closer, a little bit closer to the edges, they don't really tend to get in the way quite as much. But you also might feel like you need to put more on than you do, and you don't really. Oops, just so long as it's up off of the card base, it works pretty well. So as you notice, I'm not going up too terribly high because I don't want to impede the spinner part. Okay, and let me just grab one more. Just gonna cut this in half. So these are the new strips that they came up with. But again, as I said, if you have dimensionals, dimensionals work absolutely fine. These definitely are a tiny bit easier just because, I don't know, I seem to be dimensional challenged. Every time I try to use dimensionals, I'm always goofing it up in some manner. Okay, so there we go. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put a couple teeny pieces on the inside. Again, away from the edge because you don't want to impede your pennies. Okay, so one more thing I totally forgot. My 2 cents. So you are going to need 2 pennies for this. And then the other thing you're going to want to do, you can do 2 dimensionals or you can do 1, your choice. But you want to trim off the teeny sharp pieces to make this more of a circle, because the circle turns better than the dimensional since it's an octagon. So if you just trim just those teeny little edges off, it does work much better. So you're just going to put this on, press. Oh goodness. Okay, there we go. And just press your 2 pennies together. Okay, so just like that. Just press your 2 pennies together. This gives a narrow gap. If you want a bigger gap, if you feel a little nervous, you can use 2 dimensionals. Okay, so the other thing we're going to do now is we're going to peel these strips off. I was just going to say, these peel off a little bit easier for me, but I went ahead and proved me wrong again. I did have a YouTube commenter who was kind enough to tell me that if you put a little fingernail mark in the center of the dimensionals, that the top piece will come off a little bit easier, and that is absolutely true. But I'm not sure that I've crafted that for this part. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to place our level here down, our layer, just like so. Okay, and again, if you want help lining this up, you can either put this inside, you could put this other piece that you colored inside if you wanted to add a little bit more red to it. But I'm going to add the other one just because it's kind of fun and crazy gaudy, Christmassy. It's almost like this is a really cool card, and it would make a great ugly sweater card because of the different patterns that I have put together. My grandfather would love this. He was always wearing stripes and polka dots. Okay, so I'm going to just lay that down right in there. Okay, just like that. And that'll kind of help us to line up where we want to put our circle. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to put our circle in. And again, this is up to you, depending on how anal or perfect you want to be. If you want to try to line it up to how you had your thing, but that's perfectly fine for me. Okay, what I'm going to do now is just layer these 2 together. And I kind of just kept the snail right in the center so I could overlap this without it being a lot of glue all over it. And then you're going to put just some glue on the back side so you can adhere it to your penny. Okay, give that a nice push because that dimensional is going to pop back up. And then that's it. So all you're going to do is you're going to slide your penny in and kind of just finagle that little piece just to fit it right in. Come on, it always looks easier than it is. You're not going to hurt your card, no worries. Okay, then your penny. There you go. So look how fun that is already, just like that. So much fun. It just goes all over the place. That's super, super fun. Okay, but we're not going to stop here. Now, the other thing I did put that, the thread, metallic thread on the outside. So if you do that, you want to do it before you start. It does not impede the travel of your star whatsoever. So you just have to remember to do it ahead of time because that sticky strip is a little bit difficult to get off. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to decorate the inside. So I have a piece of Very Vanilla here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of eyeball where I'm going to put my designer series paper. So I have two pieces. I should have cut these notes a little bit better so you could see the notes. But I did a strip of notes and then a strip of the other side of the notes, which are like some little holly berries. So we're going to just put those together on there and I'm going to trim this off. However, I also want to stamp my inside first. So let's see, another one. How about we do Happy Christmas? Because that's a really, really cute one. Grab a bigger block here. And you can do the copper embossing again if you'd like, but I'm going to do a little bit of Cherry Cobbler just to bring a little bit more fun. The other thing you could do some Cherry Cobbler with a little bit of sparkle embossing powder if you happen to have any of that left or hanging around anywhere. Alright, so I'm going to put that right there in the center. And if you're not stamping with a pad, which I do usually when I have these photopolymers, you definitely want to give it about 10 seconds for the ink to transfer off. It does give a much better, see, and that's why I didn't adhere it. Gives a better image if you have the mat underneath. So instead of the mat holding my blocks, let's put it here, and that's why I didn't adhere it. So we'll flip this over and we're going to try again. Okay, so one more time. Much better. Absolutely cute. Okay. And just put that to the side. So now what we're going to do is I did trim this a little bit awkward because I didn't cut it exactly. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this one on first and then we're going to put this on top and that way we can just trim both sides. So let's put this one on first. And that looks nice because you don't want it to be huge, but it kind of just gives you a little bit of something. And let's make sure our music notes are facing the correct direction. This kind of looks a little bit upside down, so I'm going to end up actually putting this one upside down and we'll fix it. And what I'm going to try to do is align this to one side. That way we can just trim the other. Okay, so we're going to just use our snips here, cut off our little whoopsies. I'm going to use the bigger scissors for this piece. These poor scissors won't open because they're so covered in glue dots and stuff. Alright, so a little bit more snail. And that completes our card. I'm sorry this one was a little bit long, but it is a lot of stuff to do, and I wanted to make sure you guys got a really good explanation of it before I just said, oh, here's this card. Have fun. Good luck. But it's so fun. Look at that little spinner card. I mean, that is just absolutely, oh, come on. Now he's stuck. Absolutely adorable. Whoever gets this card from you is definitely going to love it. Really, really, really going to love it. And they do sell also this really pretty thread that I got. What is this called? Gold something. Where am I? Gold 1/8 inch ribbon. So you can make yourself, you could even wrap this little ribbon around. You can make yourself a little bow. Let's try that real quick. See how I can make a quick ribbon. Probably not. Not bad. Hold on, she's not done yet. Oh, good gravy. I love you all for having the patience to watch this. I'm sorry. Sometimes I'm a little challenged at the end of the day. Okay, perfect. Let's make this. This is a little slippery too because this little gold lame is a little crazy. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put this on a little glue dot. And right down there. So again, doesn't impede it whatsoever. You can still get your card to flow freely around there. Crazy. So thanks for taking time to watch, guys. I really, really appreciate it. And again, if you wouldn't mind stopping by my online store, you can get all these supplies and more. Your contributions do make it possible for me to continue doing these great videos because my day job doesn't pay that much. Thanks for taking time to watch. If you have any questions or comments, you can shoot me an email at rachthestamper@gmail.com. You can hit my online store. It's open 24/7 at rachthestamper.stampinup.net. If you haven't already, please subscribe to me on YouTube on Rach the Stamper. I also just recently started a Facebook page. So there's not a whole lot of stuff on there yet, but I'm working on it. You can find me there as well on Rach the Stamper. I am also on Pinterest, Instagram, and sometimes I try to do Periscopes live, and that is searchable under Rach the Stamper as well. So I hope you like these 2 cards. I know it's a little crazy for Christmas in July, but come on, it's fun. Plus, if you're really sweltering like we are here in the Northeast, you could use a little bit of cool thoughts just to chill you out. Thanks for taking time to watch, guys. Hope you have a great day.